given number by 10 and then subtract the given number from the resultant number. So 238 into 9 can be written as 238 into 9 will be equal to 238 into 10 minus 1. Why? Because 9 can be written as 10 minus 1. Now this 238 will be as it is. So 238 into 10 will give me 2380 minus 238 into 1 will give me 238. So 2380 minus 238 will give me 2142, which is the right answer for 238 into 9. As simple as that. Now this shortcut we have formed using distributive law, which says A into B minus C will be equal to what? A into B minus A into C. So this would form the basic for the shortcut. Now let's try one more number. Let us say we have to multiply 238 by 81. Now how do we do it? Now step number 1, 238. This 81 can be written as what? 9 into 9. Correct? Now 238 into this 9 can be written as what? 10 minus 1. And one more 9 can be written as what? 10 minus 1. Now we'll go back down. Now 238 into 10 minus 1 into 10 minus 1. How will you write it as? We'll write it as 2380 minus 238 the whole into 110 minus 1. Correct? Now what is 238 minus 2380 minus 238? That will be 2142 we know. 2142 into 10 minus 1 will be how much? 2142 minus 2142. That will give you the answer as 19278. So if you are very good in multiplication at least, this will give you the answer in seconds. That means to say 238 into 81 will give me 19278 as the answer. I hope it's clear. Now we will go to case number 3, where we will multiply some random numbers and we will check how it goes on. Let's say we have to multiply 38 into 32. Now how would you do it? So let's write in steps. So step number 1. Step number 1, we will multiply the unit digit as 8 into 2. So we'll multiply the unit digit as 8 into 2. So 8 into 2 will be how much? 8 into 2 will be 16. Now next what do? We go for step number 2. So step number 1, we multiplied the unit digits 8 into 2. Now step number 2, add 1 to the left digit, then multiply thus increased number by the original digit. Add 1 to the left digits, then multiply this increased number by the original digit. That means to say 3 is multiplied with increased value, that is 3 plus 1. Now what is 3 into 3 plus 1? 3 into 3 plus 1 will be how much? 12. That means to say what would be the answer? The answer will be 1216 for 38 into 32. I hope it's clear. Now we can do this step only in the case the unit digit is 10 and the rest of the digits are same in both the numbers. The rest of the digits should be same in both the numbers, not for all the numbers. You can try this logic. Done. Now let's say one more. We'll see one more example. Let's say we have to multiply 83 by 87. Now step number 1, what do we do? As usual, we will multiply the unit digit. So what is unit digit here? 3 into 7. 3 into 7 is how much? 21. Now step number 2, what do we do? Step number 2, we will take the 10th place and add 1 to it and multiply the increased number by the original number. That means to say this will be 8 into 8 plus 1. So 8 into 8 plus 1 is how much? 8 into 9. 8 9s are 72. That means answer will be 721. The answer will be 7221. Now let's try for one more number. 71 into 79. How do we solve it? So step number 1, we will multiply unit digit. So that is 1 into 9. 1 into 9 will be always 9. Now step number 2, what do we do? Step number 2, to the left number increase by 1, thus multiply the left number by the increased number. That means to say 7 into 7 plus 1. So 7 into 7 plus 1 is what? 7 into 8. 7 into 8 is what? 56. That means the answer will be 56. And since the answer is only 9 for step number 1, we will add 09. That means to say 71 into 79 will be 5609. I hope it's clear. Now we will go to case number 4. Multiplying two numbers whose difference is always a even number. Whose difference is always a even number. Let us check this number. Multiply 38 by 52. Now as usual, we'll start step number 1. Now what is step number 1? First we'll check the difference. 52 minus 38. What is the difference? The difference will be 14. Is 14 even number? Yes. Now then let's proceed to step number 2. Step number 2, what do we do? Now step number 2, we will take the difference and divide by 2. So what is the answer? I get the answer as 7. Now let's go to step number 3. Now whatever the answer 7 I get, I will add to the first number 38 plus 7. That will be equal to how much? 45. Or I can even subtract from the second number, that is 52 minus 7. That will also be equal to 45. Correct? Now let's go to step number 4. Now whatever answer I get by adding or subtracting, I will square the value. That's nothing but 45 into 45. Now 45 into 45 is what? 2025. Now let's go to step number 5. Now in step number 5, what do I do? Now step number 5, whatever answer I get, or let's say we'll take 7 square. Why? Because we are adding 7 and subtracting 7, right? So let me take it as 7 square. So 7 into 7 is how much? 49. Now last step, step number 6. Whatever answers I got in step number 4 and step number 5, I'll subtract the value. That's nothing but 2025 minus 49. That will give me the answer as 1976. That means to say 38 into 52 will be equal to 1976. I hope it's clear. Now let's go for one more number. Let us say we will take the number 76 into 96. Now how do we solve it? 76 into 96. Now step number 1. First what do? We check the difference. So 96 minus 76. So what is 96 minus 76? The answer is 20. Now 20 is an even number. Yes, then we'll move to step number 2. So step number 2, what do? We divide 20 by 2. What is 20 by 2? 20 by 2 is 10. Now we'll go to step number 3. So what do we do in step number 3? We will take 76 and add 10. That will be equal to how much? That will be equal to 86. Or we will subtract 96 minus 10. That's also equal to how much? That will also be equal to 86. Now let's go to step number 4. Now what does step number 4 says? Now whatever answer I get, 86, I will square the answer. So 86 into 86. What is 86 into 86? 7396. Correct? Now we'll go to step number 5. Now step number 5, what do? We know the plus or minus will be equal to how much? 10. That means we'll multiply 10 into 10. That is 10 square. What is 10 square? That will be equal to 100. Now what do we do for step number 6? Now step number 6 is nothing but we will subtract the numbers whichever we got in step number 4 and step number 5. That means to say 7396 minus 100. That will give me the answer as how much? 7296. That means to say 76 into 96 will be equal to 7296. Now you might be wondering why this person is showing 6 different steps and saying it as Vedic maths. To make you understand the concept, I am showing through steps. So once you are perfect in the concept, then you don't need to use all these 3 steps. 3 or 6 steps. You can directly find a way, right away, get the answer. I hope it's clear. Now case number 5. Here I will teach you the shortcut to multiply any two numbers. Let us say n1 into n2. How do we solve it? So n1 into n2 can be written as n1 plus n2 the whole divided by 2 whole square minus n2 minus n1 the whole divided by 2 the whole square. For example, we will take the study 56 into 64. Now 56 into 64 can be written as 56 plus 64 the whole divided by 2 minus 64 minus 56 the whole divided by 2. Now in step number 2, what do? First I will add and divide by 2 and check. So I get the answer as 64 4 plus 56 is how much? That is 120. So answer will be 120 here and 120 divided by 2. Now, or minus I'll put here, it will be easy for you. 64 minus 56 divided by 2 is how much? That is 8, correct? So 8 divided by 2. Now step number 3, what is 120 by 2? 120 by 2 is 60 minus what is 8 by 2? 8 by 2 is 4. Now let me square the respective values. That is 60 into 60 minus 4 into 4. What is 60 into 60? 3600 minus 4 into 4 is what? 16. So what is the answer here? 3584 means to say 56 into 64. The answer will be 3584. Now let us talk about case number 1. So case number 1 belongs to multiplication by either 5 or 25. That means to say 5 square or 5 cube or 5 power 4, or even you can go 5 and multiples of 5 like 625 also. Now how do we start the question? Let us say there is a question given to you, multiply 187 by 5 and tell me the answer. Now how do we solve this? Step number 1. Look carefully. Step number 1. Associate as many zeros at the end of the given number as there is a power to 5. Thus we write 187 as 1870. Why? Because 5 is equal to 5 power 1. Now step number 2. Step number 2, what do we do? Step number 2, divide the resultant number by 2 as many times as there is power to 5. That means to say 1870 the whole divided by 2. What is 1870 whole divided by 2? That will be equal to 935. That means to say 185 into 5 will be equal to 935. As simple as that. Now let's take one more number. Let us multiply 369 by 125. Now step number 1. What do we do? I repeat again. Step number 1. Associate as many zeros at the end of the given number as there is power to 5. Thus we write this 369 as what? We'll write it as 36900 or triple zeros we write. Why? Because 125 is what? 5 cubes, so we'll add 3 zeros at the end. Since 125 is 5 cube, we will add 3 zeros at the end. Done. Now next what do we do? Next step number 2. Look carefully what I'm going to do here. Step number 2. Step number 2, I'll divide this 36900 the whole divided by 2 into 2 into 2. Why? Because for 1 5 power 1 we divided by 2. Since there are 5 power 3 here, we'll divide by 2 power 3. What is 2 power 3? 2 power 3 is what? 2 power 3 is 8. That will yield me the result 36900 the whole divided by 8. That will give me 46125. Correct? Now, since there is 5 cube, hence it will divide by 2 power 3. In general, if you want to multiply any number k by 5 power n, then just you need to divide that number by 2 power n. That's the shortcut. After writing the number of zeros at the end, then you can write down the answer, however it is. I hope it's clear. Done. Now again to say 369 into 125, you can check with your calculus. The answer will be 46125. As simple as that. So in the next video, we will discuss about multiplication of the number by 9 power n. That is 9 and multiples of 9. Now let us try to find out the cube root of some numbers. So number will be 12167. So let's go to step number 1. Step number 1. Write down the last digit of the given value. What is the last digit? It is 7. Now for 7, what is the flip number? For 7, the flip number will be 3. Why? Because 7 cube is 343. So let us write 3 as the last number. Means to say 3 is the last digit of the cube root of this number. 3 is the last digit of the cube root of this number. Now step number 2. Step number 2, we will cancel 3 numbers from the last. Cancel 3 numbers from the last. So if I cancel 3 numbers from the last, which numbers will be cancelled? It is 167 will be cancelled. Now what is the only left out number? 12 is the left out number. Now this 12 lies between what set of numbers? 12 lies between 3 cube is 27, 2 cube is 8. So it lies between 2 and 3. Why? Because 2 cube is 8, 3 cube is 27. So this dual number which is left out, it lies between 2 and 3. Means to say, what is the lower limit? 2 is again the lower limit. Now once you find out the lower limit, the job is very simple. That means to say 2 will be the first number and I know the last number will be 3. That means to say cube root of 12167 will be 23. As simple as that. I hope it's clear. Now let's try for one more number. Let's take a number called 97336. Now step number 1, what do we do? Step number 1, we will write the last number. What's the last number? 6. For 6, what is the value? 6 cube is 6 only. So the last digit will be always 6. That means to say the 6 is the last digit of this cube root of the number. Now we have to find out the first digit. Now how do we find out the first digit? We will cancel 336. Why? Because we will cancel the last 3 numbers. Now what is left out? 97 is left out. Now you tell me 97 lies under what set of numbers? I know 3 cube is 27, 4 cube is 64, 5 cube is 125. It lies between 4 and 5. Why? Because 4 cube is 64, 5 cube is 125. It lies between 4 and 5. Now what is the lower limit? 5 is the lower limit. Now what do we do? First we write the lower limit digit, that is 4, and last number is, I know it should be 6. That means to say cube root of 97336 will be 46 definitely. Now we'll take one more bigger number. Let's try for this number 941192. We have to find out the cube root of this number. Now what is the last number? 2. So for 2, what is the value? Flip value? That is 8. Means to say 8 is the last digit in the number, or 8 is the cube root, or 8 is the last digit where you find out the cube root of 941192. Now since we have to find out the first number, what do? We will cancel the last 3 numbers. We will cancel 192. Now what is left out? We are left out with 941. Now 941 lies between what set of numbers? I know 9 cube is 729. 10 cube is 1000. That means to say it lies between 9 and 10. Now what is the lower limit? 9 is the lower limit. So first number will be 9. And what is the last digit? I know it should be 8. That means to say the cube root of 941192 will be 98. I hope it's clear. Now let's go for one last number. Let's say we'll have to find out the cube root of 1404928. Now what is the last number? 8. That means fifth number will be 2. That means the last digit will be definitely 2. Now since we have to find out the first 2 digits, what do? We will cancel same last 3 numbers. We will cancel 928. Now what we are left out with? We are left out with 1404. Now it lies between what set of numbers? I know 11 cube is what? 1221. The 12 cube is what? It is 1728. That means to say it lies between 11 and 12. Now what is the lower limit? 11 is the lower limit. Correct? So 11 will be always the lower limit. That means to say the lower limit number will be 11. And what's the last number? It should be 2. That means to say the answer will be 112. Means to say cube root of 1404928 will be 112. I hope it's clear. Now let's go to the next important concept to find out the cube root of a number. Again, to find out the cube root of a number, we have to do some little groundwork. So where we will write the cubes of a number from 1 to 10. And again here, I will write only the last unit digits. What is 1 cube? 1. Last number is 1. I have written 1 will be equal to 1. 2 cube is what? 8. 3 cube is what? 27. I wrote only 7. Why? Because the last number is 7. 4 cube is 64. I have written 4. 5 cube is 125. I have written 5. 6 cube is 216. I have written 6. 7 cube is 343. I have written 3. 8 cube is 7. 8 cube is 512. I have written 2. 9 cube is 729. I have written 9. 10 cube is 1000. That is I have written as 0. Now again, if you have to look carefully at these numbers, you can observe something. 1 cube will be equal to 1. 4 is equal to 4. 5 is equal to 5. 6 is equal to 6. 9 is equal to 9. 10 is equal to 0. But look at these numbers. For 2, what is the last number? 8. And look at the number 8. For 8, it is 2. That means to say, can I say 2 and 8 are flip numbers? Why? Because 2 cube is 8, 8 cube is 2. So when I get the answer as 2, I'll write the answer as 8. And when I get the answer as 8, I'll write it as 2. Now look at the second set of numbers. 3 will be equal to 7 and 7 will be equal to 3. Again, 3 and 7 are called as flip numbers. So always remember, in cube root of any number, 2 and 8 are flip numbers and 3 and 7 are called as flip numbers. The remaining all, they remain as it is. We shall discuss an important concept in number theory called divisibility rules. Now first of all, let's divide or segregate the rules into different segments So first segment we will learn about divisibility rule of 2 and multiples of 2. Means to say 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3 till 2 power n. Yes, let's have a look at this table which says divisibility rules of 2 and multiples of 2 with its output. Now if I go to this number 2 power 1. So what is 2 power 1? It is 2, and 2 power 2 it is 4, and 2 power 3 it is 8, and 2 power 4 it is 16. That means to say in this video we are trying to learn the divisibility rules of 2 till 16, and with that you can even formulate your own steps for 32, 64, 128, which are all multiples of 2. That's nothing but 2 power m. Now if a number has to be divisible by 2, the logic or the output is we will go to the given number and check the last number. If the last number is divisible by 2, then the complete number is divisible by 2. Let's say we have to check the divisibility rule of 4. Now how did we get this 4? 2 square is 4, means what is the power? The power is 2. That means to say we will go and check the last two numbers of the given number, and if the last two numbers of the given number is divisible by 4, the complete number is divisible by 4. Now if we have to check the divisibility rule of 8. Now what is 8? 2 cube is 8. That means to say the last three numbers should be divisible by 8. Then only we can say the number is completely divisible by 8. Now what about this number 2 power 4? 2 power 4 is 16. So 16 we got by adding 2 power 4. Means we will check the last four numbers that should be divisible by 16. Then only the complete number is divisible by 16, else it is not. That means to say the general shortcut formula for finding the divisibility rules of 2 is 2 power n, where n decides how many numbers we should take from the last so that it is divisible by the respective number or not. Now for example, if we say 2 power 5, 2 power 5 is 32. If I ask you to find out the divisibility rule of 32, then how many numbers will you take? 2 power 5 means you will take the last 5 numbers and you will check whether the number is divisible by 32 or not. And when do we say the number is completely divisible? Only if the remainder is 0. Now let's go for the divisibility rule of 3 and multiples of 3. It's nothing but 3 power n. Now for 3 and multiples of 3, the logic is very simple and very clean and very neat. How do we do it? 3 power 1 is 3, 3 power 2 is 9, 3 power 3 is 27, 3 power 4 is 81. That means to say by looking at this table we can formulate the own shortcuts for 3 and 9 and rule of 27 and even rule of 81, which nobody would have ever thought of. Now how do we check whether the given number is divisible by 3 or not? It's very simple, people. Let's say the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll write the output number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we have to check whether the number is divisible by 3 or not. Now by looking at the last number, since it's an even number, you can say the number is also divisible by 2. Now I am asking whether it's divisible by 3 or not. So we have little confusion. Now what do we do? The rule of 3 power 1, that is rule of divisibility rule of 3, says you will add all the numbers and check whether the sum is divisible by 3. If the sum is divisible by 3, leaving the remainder 0, then the complete number is divisible by 3, else it is not. For example, the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what do? We do 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 3 plus 4, 4 plus 5, 5 plus 6. So what is the sum? It is 11, 15, 18, 20, 21. Now is 21 divisible by 3? 3 6 are 18, 3 7 are 21, 3 8 are 24. That means the number is divisible by 3. That means to say this number 1,23,456 is divisible by 3. Now what about the rule of 3 square, that is 9? Again the logic is same. We will add all the numbers and check whether the number is divisible by 9 or not. If it is yes, yes. If it is remainder is present, then no. What about the rule of 27? 27 is what? 3 power 3. That means the logic is same. Add all the values and divide by the number 27 and check whether the remainder is 0 or not. If the remainder is 0, it is divisible. If the remainder is not 0, it is not divisible. What about rule of 81? What is 81? 3 power 4. That means the rule is still again the same. Sum all the values and divide by 81 and check. If remainder is 0, yes, and if remainder is not 0, it is no. As simple as that. Now let's move to the miscellaneous problem to find the divisibility rule of 7, which most of the teachers or lecturers or trainers which they skip. Why? Because it's little complicated to teach. So but I'll make it very simple for you. Let us say we will have to check a number whether it is divisible by 7 or not. Now how do we do it? Let's take a small number first. The number is 1071 and we have to check whether the number is divisible by 7 or not. So how do we do? I'll show step by step. Step number 1. Listen carefully. So step number 1, I will write 1071 as 107 and the last number 1. So leaving the last number, I'll write the remaining terms. So 107 will be one set and 1 will be one set. Now step number 2. What do I do? 107 I'll write as it is and I'll put a subtract sign. I'll open the bracket. What's the left out term? That is 1. So I'll write 1 and multiply with 2. So what is the answer I get? So that will be equal to 105. Now step number 3. I'll again take the number 105 and write it as, what do we write it as? 10 and 5. Now step number 4. What do I do? Again I write this 105 as 10 minus, what is the left out term? 5. I'll multiply 5 into 2. Now what is the answer? So 10 minus 10, that will be equal to what? 0. Now you tell me, since 0 is divisible by 7, the number 1071 is also divisible by 7. It's as simple as that. Now let us take one more example. Let's take the small example of this. Again we'll take one small number or bigger number. Let's say we'll go for smaller number now. Then we'll go for bigger number. Let's take the number called 133. So what do I do? I write step number 1. I write 133 as 13 and 3. Now step number 2. I'll take 133 as it is. Or let's say we'll take 13 only. 13 minus, what is the left out term? 3. I'll multiply with 2. Every time I'll multiply with 2. The left out term will be always multiplied by 2. So what is the answer? 13 minus 6, I'll get the answer as 7. Now is the number 7 divisible by 7? Yes, that means to say this number 133 is completely divisible by 7. Now shall we try one more number? Let's say we'll go for one bigger number, 939,715. Very difficult, huh? Now let's go for step number 1 as usual. We'll write all the terms leaving the last one. So all terms means 93971 and the remaining term will be 5. So now step number 2, what do we do? Step number 2, we'll fill it as the first numbers excluding the last number and the last number. Now how do we write it as? Step number 2, we'll take 93971 minus, what's the left out term? 5 into 2. So what is the answer? 93971 minus 10. So answer will be 93961. Now we'll go for step number 3. Again we'll write 93961 as 9396 and the remaining will be 1. Now step number 4, we'll write it as 9396 minus, what is the left out term? 1 into 2. Now what is the answer? So we'll get answer as 9396 minus 1 into 2. So that will be equal to 9396 minus 2. So 9396 minus 2 will give me 9394. Now we'll go for step number 5. So step number 5, we'll take 9, 3, 9, and the remaining will be what? And the remaining will be definitely 4. I'll write 4 here. Now step number 6, we'll take it as 9, 3, 9 minus, remainder is 4 into 2. So what is 4 into 2? That is 8. So 939 minus 8 will give me 931. Now let's try for other one. Now remember this word 931. Now 931 can be written as what? Step 7. 931 can be written as 93 and 1. Now step number 8. 93 can be written as 93 minus, what was the remainder? 1 into 2, 91. Now step number 9. Because I'm writing so many steps, but once you practice it will be very easy for you. No need to write all these 7 steps, 8 steps, 9 steps. So you can do in a fraction of seconds. So what is the left out term now? 91. So 91 I write it as 9 and 1. Now it becomes very easy. Look at the end. So step number 10, I think you might get the answer here itself. So 9 minus 1 I'll write it as 9 minus of 1 into 2. So what is 9 minus of 1 into 2? 9 minus 2. 9 minus 2 will be what? 7. That means to say the number 939715, this number 939715 is completely divisible by 7. Very simple, as simple as that. Now let's further move to understand the rule of 11, which is very simple. The rule of 11 says if a number is divisible by 11 only if the difference between the sum of the digits at the odd place and sum of the digits at the even place is equal to 0 or multiple of 11. I repeat again, a number is divisible by 11 only if the difference between sum of the digits at the odd places and sum of the digits at even places should be equal to 0 or multiples of 11, like 11, 22, 33, etc. For example, we'll take a number. We'll take a number called 57945822. Now step number 1, what do we do? Step number 1, we will bifurcate into odd places and even places. So what are the odd places here? 2, 8, 4, 7. So what is the sum of all the odd places? It is 2 plus 8 plus 4 plus 7. So the sum of the digits at the odd place 2 plus 8 plus 4 plus 7 will be equal to what? 21. Now we'll go to step number 2. We'll find the sum of the digits at even places. So what are the even places here? 2 plus 5 plus 9 plus 5. So what is the sum here? The sum should be equal to again 21. Now step number 3, what do? We check the difference between sum of the digits at the odd places and sum of the digits at the even places. So this 21 will be for odd and this 21 will be for even. Now what are we supposed to do? We'll check the difference. That means to say we will do 21 minus 21. Now 21 minus 21, that means to say this number is completely divisible by 11, or the number 57945822 is completely divisible by 11. Now similarly, as you did for the rule of 7, the divisibility rule of 19 is also one and the same. You will same divide the numbers and the last digit will be always multiplied by 2 even for the divisibility rule of 19. Now what about the number divisibility rule of 13 and let's say 17? How do we do it? Same step number 1, as usual, group the terms with last number remaining as a single term. And for divisibility rule of 7 and 19, what did I say? You will multiply the last number by 2. 19 and 7. Now what if the number is 13 and 17? We have to check the divisibility rule of 13 and 17. So what do? We group the terms with the last number remaining as a single term. Now the last number For 7 and 19 we used to multiply by 2. But for 13 what do we do? For 13 alone I'll write here. For 13 alone, if the last number is x, then multiply x with the number 4. If only for rule 13, the last number you will multiply with 4. And as usual, you will carry down step number 2, step number 3, step number 4. And as I already mentioned that you can stop your checking process as soon as you get a number which is easy for you to understand or easy to know that the particular number is divisible by the given divisor or not. Further, you should know that every resultant value in the right hand side might be divisible by the divisor whether you readily recognize it or not. Clear? Now let's go for step number 3. What if the number is 17 alone? You have to check for the rule of 17. That means to say, if the last number after grouping, if the last number is x, then here you will multiply x with the number 5. That's all the difference. So I'll repeat. For 7, the last number is multiplied with 2. For 19, the last number is multiplied with 2. For 13, the last number is multiplied with 4. And for 17, the last number will be multiplied with 5. I hope it's clear.